Hi, and welcome to I Can Become. My name is Ellie, and I am 10 years old. I live in Bend, Oregon. I like to bake, figure skate, and care for my dog. When I grow up, I want to rescue animals. I really want to know more about rescuing animals. So my friends at ICAN Radio have arranged for me to talk to Dr. Steve Kochis from the Oregon Humane Society. I want to ask him about rescuing animals and what he wanted to be when he grew up. So let's get into the interview. Hi, Dr. Steve. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ellie.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a veterinarian. I'm the chief medical officer for the Oregon Humane Society. I've been in that position for about 6 years now. I've been a veterinarian for almost 30 years. Been a long time helping animals, helping families with their pets. I grew up originally in New York, and I moved to Oregon about 25 years ago now. And I've been a practicing veterinarian in the community. I've done emergency work, and I've been in the animal rescue business for, like I said, 6 years. Before I became the chief medical officer, I was on the board of trustees for the Oregon Humane Society.
Wow, that's really cool.
Thank you.
You've been a veterinarian for 30 years?
Coming up on, yeah. It's my 30th year.
Wow, that's amazing. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Always wanted to be a veterinarian. It's the only thing that I was drawn to from the time that I was a little kid. And I'm very fortunate that I actually got to pursue that dream, because I realize that not a lot of people can become what they want to when they're little kids.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've always wanted to be like an animal rescuer too, ever since I was really young.
Appreciate that.
What's it like being someone who rescues animals?
It can be very difficult at times, but there's also a lot of joy. There's a lot of value. There's a lot of reward, self-gratification, helping people, helping pets. I work in a couple of different ways in animal rescue. I get to help animals that don't have an owner, or who've lost their owner, or whose owners can no longer take care of the pet. At Oregon Humane Society, we bring dogs, cats, and other creatures from all across the country, either from a disaster where the animals have lost their home, or the community is in great need to get their shelter some space to take in folks that have lost their home, provide temporary housing. We help local families, so folks that, they've lost a family member, or they've met with difficult times, or the pet has medical needs that exceed their ability to take care of them. And so we're there to kind of pitch in and help. So that's the sort of the rescue side. But on the veterinary side, now at Oregon Humane Society, we have a community hospital that helps families keep their pets. So whether that's providing more access to care, so they're unable to afford getting their pet spayed or neutered, they're unable to afford getting their pet vaccinated, or their pet is sick and they need some help. Ideally, one of our biggest goals is to keep the pet with the family.
Do you care for pets too? Are you kind of like an animal rescuer and a veterinarian?
I do both. Yep. And I oversee all of the medical operations at the shelter. And a lot of that is husbandry, care, behavior, medical needs. So all of that kind of rolled into one, making sure that the pets get everything that they need once they're in our care.
How old were you when you knew you wanted to be, when you wanted to work with animals?
I don't remember the exact age. I just can remember, as far back as my memories serves me, always being drawn to, collecting or helping, everything from things that I found on the side of the road to things that I found under a rock. Yeah, I think my dad was really good about providing opportunities for me to be able to have, for example, I had a snake that I found in the garden. And so I took it in for, 6 months, something like that. And then I released it the following spring. So yeah, just taking care of things and being drawn to the care of these other creatures that really depend on either people to help them, or are under some other circumstance that, they need help.
Yeah, that's really cool. Is it fun being an animal rescuer sometimes?
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. And even when things are difficult or emotional, I think my coworkers, my colleagues. We have an army of volunteers that help at the shelter. Everything from youth volunteers that help do humane education. So we have like educational events, and we try to insert fun as much as
Yeah.
possible to kind of lighten the mood. It's hard work at times. And even though I said, it is rewarding and extremely gratifying, it can be really hard, both physically as well as emotionally. So anywhere where we can take time to laugh, or, even if it's just play really good music while we're doing the work, making sure we take breaks, food
Yeah.
is a really good way for us all to kind of take a break. So whether I bring in donuts or some other, snack, yeah.
Yeah. What should I focus on at school so I can work with animals when I grow up?
Probably the most important thing is, I know that there's a heavy science focus if if your path is to become a veterinarian, but I would say for me, my experience being well-rounded, getting involved in your community, so getting involved at the shelter, even at, I think our cutoff at Oregon Humane Society is 12 for our youth volunteers. And you're from Central Oregon, is that
Yes.
right? Yeah, so there's shelter work everywhere in the state, is to get involved. And if you can't get involved because you live in a more, rural community, there's ways that you can volunteer and help remotely, thanks to technology and all of that. So getting experience now, because the path you think you might want might take a little bit of a different turn, or you might find something that you didn't even realize you could do. When I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I had no idea of all the different ways that veterinarians can contribute in the community. My vision was like, oh, I'm going to be a small animal vet. I'm going to work in a veterinary practice, and I'm going to work in the community that I live in, not realizing that there's so many other opportunities to get involved. Yeah, there's a heavy focus on academia and doing well in school, but also really important to be involved in your community and do other things too.
Yeah. Did you do that like when you were younger? Did you like help out in your community at like any like local shelters
I
or anything?
did. I volunteered at an animal hospital. Initially, I did it just to get some experience and kind of confirm that this was my dream. That led to a job at the same animal hospital. And when I was in when I was in undergrad, I volunteered at a farm. And in vet school, you're so busy when you're in school, it's really hard to like take time to focus. But any opportunity that I had to help in the community or volunteer, anything like that, I did
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It's really cool. What was one of your hardest rescue jobs like so far?
There's a lot of different situations that are hard for different reasons.
Yeah.
I think rescuing animals that are in imminent danger from, we rescued a group of dogs just earlier this year that were living outside, and they were cared for from the perspective of they had food, they had water, they had shelter. But unfortunately, the property that they were living on was in the line of a wildfire. And so, we had to get in there kind of under dangerous conditions to get the animals out while there was smoke and fire, and working with the fire department and local officials to be able to get in there and get them out
Yeah.
quickly and safely. And these were dogs that weren't really used to being around other people, not really well socialized. So, had a very short amount of time to get their trust and get them out.
Yeah. So like would they like try to bite you or like not like listen at all?
Yeah. Yeah.
How old were they?
They ranged from puppies to older, like 8, 10 years old. Yeah.
Wow.
We got 20 plus dogs out of that situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite part working with animals?
My favorite part of working with animals is so many different reasons. I think the satisfaction in, saving an animal's life, whether that be from circumstances like they're in danger from fire or water, or their own owners, unfortunately, who aren't able to care for them. But I think, sometimes it's either the individual pet that you sort of like kind of have a special sort of connection with or bond with, even a pet that you are only meeting for this first time. And then there's always, on the veterinary side, there are the owners that you really connect with. And doing this as long as I've done it, I've seen families through multiple pets from puppy to end of life. And so you kind of become almost part of the family, and then you're part of multiple pet families. when you do this.
Yeah.
So that is incredibly rewarding. And, folks now that I don't see anymore as clients on a regular basis, but I still have that connection with them that, we try to visit with each other when we can and make time for each other just because you are drawn to them for so many different reasons.
Yeah.
You make some really lasting relationships by working with animals.
Seems like you would, because you're kind of like getting in like so many animals, and like you get to meet so many breeds and like, what it's been like through their life. I
Yeah.
think that's really interesting.
Yeah. And, when you meet a pet that's a kitten or a puppy, you kind of bond with them too, just like the family, especially when they're, puppies and kittens come in frequently the first year of their life to get their vaccines and spayed and neutered and, all of those things. So you're interacting frequently.
If you weren't rescuing animals, what would you do?
I think the answer to that has changed over time. When I was a kid, I always had this dream of, being in a band or a group or something like that and traveling and, I don't know, backup dancer, backup singer. I don't know. I didn't want to be the star, but I wanted to be on stage. And then nowadays, if I weren't doing this, I'd probably still be connected in some way to helping animals, whether it's time for me to retire, volunteering, giving my time back. But I kind of want to travel, see places that I've never been, see places that I've, either only read about or seen on TV or in a movie. But I want to see some things for myself.
Do you have any animals of your own?
I do. I have 3 dogs. They're border terriers.
Is that your favorite type of dog?
It's my favorite breed. Yeah. I've had all kinds of dogs over the years, rescues. I had a French bulldog puppy that came in when it was like 3 weeks old. There was a point in my life where I had 2 geese, a duck, a snake, a turtle, 2 dogs, rabbits, like all at once. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a lot.
Must have been hard work.
My parents put up with a lot when I was little.
I bet. What is your best advice for me?
Pursue your dreams. If this is truly your dream, it's not going to come easy, so you got to work real hard for it. But if this is what your heart and your head are telling you, make it happen. It's really got to be your heart and soul. It can't, it can't be something else. It can't be something that someone else is telling you to do. It's got to be something that you really, really want to do.
Yeah. And last question, do you have any questions for me?
What about animal rescue interests you? And is it just the rescue side, or is it the veterinary side? Is it both? Undecided?
I love to rescue animals because it brings me joy that I know that, we're trying to help them. Like you're not just going to leave it and be like, nothing you can do, even though there is really something you can do to help. And then I want to be in like a critical care unit. So I think I would do both probably.
You can do both. Yeah.
That's what I really want to do for both.
Work hard in school.
Yeah.
Get some experience as much as you can. Are you already doing some volunteer work with a local shelter, or?
So my dog, he goes to Tumalo Animal Hospital, which is in Bend. They said maybe when I'm a little older, I can help out there. And I really want to do that. Just helping out there for a while, maybe a few hours.
We have some of our youth volunteers have done various like fundraising projects, and then, either through their school or with their classmates or their classroom or their community, and everything from bake sales to making beds, sewing beds for the cats and the dogs, toy drive, treat drive, food drive, any of those things. There's ways that even if your shelter or your community doesn't have a place for someone that's, only 10 years old, if you're creative enough and ambitious enough, you can figure out a way.
Yeah. That seems really cool. Thank you so much for coming today. You are so inspiring.
Thank you. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that you actually get to pursue this. Nice to meet you, Ellie.
Nice to meet you, Stephen. Thank you for listening to I Can Become with me, Ellie. Today, I have learned that animal rescuing is not always easy at times, but can also be fun. Also, to follow your dreams and don't give up. What do you want to become when you grow up? Why not tell my friends at ICAN? Just visit icanradio.org and let them know. And maybe you could interview someone cool, just like I did. I wanted to thank my guest, Dr. Steve Kochis, for coming onto the show. Because of you, I now know I can become an animal rescuer.